is time to clean these cases up. So I'm just going to go ahead and get to work, and I will show you guys once it's done. Minerelli vertical split. All that I got.
I'm about to go in on this one, y'all. About to go in.
Looks like brand new again. You should got like a polish to it. Wow, how'd you do it like that? We cleaned this motor. Insane, this thing looks brand new. RJ went like super ham on his side to the point where he almost got a polish. I just kind of cleaned mine with, we use two different types of brushes. And yeah, it looks good though. It's clean. But it's time we pull out the, hold on. It's time we back up. It's time we pull out the motor build, majority of the motor build, because we already have clutch. We got a stage 6 clutch on there. We got our malossi belt. We already got some stuff set up that we're gonna keep using. I like the stage 6 clutch. But what we got in here, boys, what should we start off with? We're gonna start off with the bottom of the motor. Another malossi crank. So that malossi full circle crank. Goated. Malossi, I'm not about to get this all sticky lube all over my arm, so I'm not about to open it. No other option, honestly, especially for the pre-bug. I'm not going with anything other than the Polini Corsa, baby. Same thing we run in. We love the Polinis. I got it on 99% of my bikes, honestly, except for the F12. F12, we got the stage 6. F12, I wanted like a super high rev bore, single ring. I wanted to go that route. Pre-bug, we ride. Pre-bug, we're riding it. We want that Polini Corsa. We want that, know that we're going to slap it in, and it's going to be there. It's going to be consistent regardless. And we're going to do some porting on this bad boy. Didn't go with an aluminum cylinder. We got that, stupid reliability Polini Corsa. Ain't nothing better, Chief.
Ain't nothing better.
It's on your bike.
It is on my bike. My bike's right there.
Yeah, we're gonna get this bad boy ported up too. He's sitting. Oh, it's gonna be so clean. And then just take the, Then we got simple little starter block, starter cover. We delete the starter, kickstart only out here. Get rid of some dust coming in there from the back tire. Got that big hole down there where the starter used to be. This will go on the flip side. Bing, bam, slap that baby on, cover that thing up. Only option, we got Polini crank bearings. Yeah, we'll get them. Polini seals, you know the deal.
And then the bore ported to the...
Oh, up here?
Yep, the bottom.
Up here too?
Oh, yep.
All
And then that one.
Oh yeah. Sheesh. Just smoothed it out. We raised the exhaust how much?
It's like 187, 188, almost 190 full race.
Don't know what that means, but we're gonna be on race mode. Way faster. Raise the roof.
Raise the roof and widen 70%.
Just as you should, boys. We got our crank. We got our bearings in the ice. We got our bearings in here. Put them in the freezer allows you to actually have them kind of like shrink in a way as metal would when it's cold. Then you're going to heat up the cases. We're doing this the getaway. You can obviously use a press. I actually prefer it this way because a press you're really just pulling things on. Even if they're going misaligned, you can't really tell with the press. So this way we at least heat up the cases, let the metal expand. Naturally you kind of can plop the bearings in. On the Dios, I've noticed the Dios are way easier. I put the Dios in, just pop it in with my thumb. Last time on the Minerelli cases, I don't know if it's just the way that the casting is, but I feel like it didn't expand as much, so I had to actually hammer it in. Probably gonna end up hammering these bad boys in. Be careful when you're doing this. Be careful. Alright, we're gonna try to do this quick. We got both bearings in. We got our good old Honda Bond. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop the crank into this side of the case first, then be able to put some Honda Bond on it, lift this side of the case, put it into this side of the case. That way if you hammer, you can hammer the little case into the big case rather than having the crank stuck in this case and you're trying to hammer it just into this half. So that's the way I've always done it. It works out usually better that way, so that's just what we're gonna do, boys. So you kind of got to get everything ready because you're gonna want to put the cold crank in there, and you kind of want the crank still to be cold when you put it in this side because it's easier for it to go in when it's cold. Boom, right in. that, boys. She liked it. Look at that happy crank. That's a happy crank. As you can see, crank is very happy, very free spinning. If you have any like contact on your crank, it usually means that your bearing's rubbing against your crank or something's rubbing in there. Maybe you put too much Honda Bond between the cases and the Honda Bond's sticking to the crank. But we look pretty good on the crank. We don't have any residue, really have any Honda Bond showing, and this thing's spinning really free. You can take the spacer that's usually right here behind your variator, and you take that and you can pop it in your seal first. That way you can just slide your seal off of this one right onto the shaft of the crank, and you don't have to worry about the lip or folding or the spring coming out behind this lip in here, because that's always a pain. So I always do that. I'll put this in on the outside. I'm going to use a little bit of 2-stroke oil, as always. Helps with just lubing everything up. And then we'll pop the other crank seal in on the other side as well. Got that bad boy on there now. As you see, we got it on here. So we're just going to slide it, and then we're just going to grab something. I'm going to use like an extension and kind of get in there and just work it off. Alright, we're going to throw the bore on. This thing's all poured up. This is going to be a ripper, bro. This should be... We poured it up, the blue and white Zuma, but we just cleaned it up. Chuck went crazy on this one. We raised the roof a lot on the exhaust port. We widened it a lot. We opened up the actual output of the exhaust a little bit. Cleaned the intake. Like, this should be a solid ripper. Dual ring setup, you know, good old course of life. We got the G-clip style. Came with one extra carbon reed. So I'm going to go ahead and just start throwing this together. Put some Honda Bond on the gasket. I already got my wrist pin over here soaking in some oil. Oil everything up, we'll lube everything up when we're throwing it together, and we should have the bore on, everything sealed here in just a little bit. That's looking good in there. She's nice. She's purty. Sheesh. Alright, gonna throw the head on now. Bada bing. Throw some Honda Bond on there. Throw that on. Put the head on. We'll let this baby seal overnight. Alright, boys. We got it all thrown together. I went ahead and just started slapping it all together. I got in the mode and I had all my fingers covered in Honda Bond, so I just sealed everything up while I could. So I didn't get to film it, but we got the cylinder on there. I got my block off plate right now because it's gonna be pressure check time next. We got our crank seals all in there. We still got a lot of parts on the way, gearbox wise too, and just motor wise before I even build the scooter, but we did get a lot of things in the mail. I figured I would show you a few of the parts that arrived. So a few things that showed up for the pre-bug build would be the naked bar stem I'm gonna be doing in black. I got a little stage 6 bar pad for my handlebars when I get some handlebars. Got a new rear brake, malossi rear brake for it, which we'll probably just throw on. I got a kick lever, which I might be using on the F12 now. We'll see. And then just a little gear cover, fancy little bolt to throw on there. A little blue one. I wish it was more like the same blue. It's definitely a lot lighter of a color blue compared to the panel, but oh well, we'll throw it on there. Why not? Why not, you know? Bada bing, bada boom. Little things added. Next we'll do a pressure check, and then it'll be time to throw this motor in. Alright, so my pressure checker gauge fit. This thing was only like 20 bucks to build, I think, and I just went and got the new adapter, which should work for my car, but I had to use 2 pieces because I didn't have a reducer that was like this one that would fit a like 28 mil insert for the smaller carb setup as this one is. As you can see, mine's a lot bigger. It won't fit in there. Well, I think I found one. The only problem is it has these notches on it, so I have to trim those notches off. But after I trim those notches off, we should be able to get that bad boy right in there. So I'm gonna just take an angle grinder and grind some of this down. But this was literally, bro, 80 cents, dude. That's how cheap it is. Like, you can build this pressure checker. I bought this exhaust block off plate from Screw Swap Shop just because it was easier. It was only like 10 bucks rather than spending, you know, 9 bucks on a piece of metal and then having to take the time to cut it out. And then I put a rubber grip behind it, a piece of a grip I cut, so it gets a good seal on there. And then yeah, so now this one I'm gonna use some thread tape and be able to put this bad boy in there, and then like I said, I'll take the angle grinder and grind that down a little bit. What's weird is I just spent so much time trying to find where this leak's coming from because I'm trying to do this air test. And I just found the leak. It's on the head stud. You see that on the back side of the head stud? Uh-oh. What does that mean? I'm really terrified right now because we have a bad leak going on back there where that stud runs through, and I'm really scared right now because it's my second time resealing it. I took the cylinder off earlier. I don't see any way the air can be getting passed down here. Alright boys, so went ahead and took the intake off. I sprayed water in the crevice of where I think the leak's coming from, which would be like the head stud area. So far, no water coming through on the intake side. What we're going to do is dump that out. I'm going to pour it on the inner cylinder on the transfer side where I think it is. And we're going to see if water starts coming through this little head stud hole. God, I hope not. Well, we have water coming through now. When I put the water in this transfer, it's coming out of here. So there 2 times today I took this motor apart, sealed it back together. I knew it wasn't something I did. From this angle, I found a way that you can really see it. So when I shine my light in my stud hole, right, you see it? I'll cap it off in there. You should not be able to see light from that transfer. Look at that hole right there. That's coming through my head stud hole. You can clearly see the hole. Dude, it goes up too. It just keeps going up. You see that crack? Now look at this side. Notice how you don't see any. Hold on. Light's capped off inside there. You don't see any light coming through, right? Done, dude. Boys, I think what we're seeing in there is a major casting flaw. If I'm looking at it, I can get the right angle with like zooming in on my camera with having the flash down. And you can see there's like a ball of casting like right back there. And there's like a hairline crack right behind that. That is way too deep for us to even have the angle to get the Dremel in. It'd have to be like a 90-degree Dremel. And Chuck was only porting with like a regular standard Dremel. You literally could see his marks, and we only roughed up the edges of the transfers. We wouldn't even been able to get back there. So I know that's from a casting flaw. That sucks. I really hope that we're able to get a replacement cylinder for that because that is a huge bummer. That's a $300 cylinder right there. Boys, with that being the end of this cylinder, talk to the boys at Screw Swap Shop. I think we're going to be able to warranty this with Polini. Just tell it's a literal crack. It looks like a casting flaw. I'm not sure. It's the first time I've seen it, but with that being said, hopefully we're going to be able to get that warranted cylinder, and hopefully it's not going to take too long. So that's on the way. And we might as well just throw this. This will be the last part we can really throw on this build for now until this thing gets put aside for a little bit. Kind of sad news. I was really hoping to be able to pressure check this thing and really, have this thing dialed on a shelf ready to go when we finish up the frame. There's a lot of things that I've actually planned now, what I'm going to do to the frame itself. So I'm going to pull that out soon. We're going to strip it down to a raw frame, reinforce some things, and yeah, a few things like that. So throw this brake shoe on, and we're going to call it done. This brake shoe is pretty crazy. I noticed it doesn't have any slots in it like the NCY one does, but it's malossi. It should be good, right? We'll see. Let's just throw it on and see. Boys, that's going to do it for the motor for today. We got a new brake on there, and I will say this brake, hey, relax. I will say this brake was super hard to put on. Man, these springs are tight. I hope it feels good. It feels like it has really good tension. I mean, more surface, more contact, right? So that's going to do it for this one. Hopefully in the next video we get the new Corsa in and we'll get completed with this motor build. Leave a thumbs up if you're stoked for the new Zuma build. This one's going to be sweet. I'm very stoked. I'll see you in the next one.